Ready to roll on this Stronach 5 preview show. So good to have you with us, everybody. Jason Blewett catching up with all of you once again from our XBTV studios here at glorious and beautiful Gulfstream Park. Hard to believe in a way that November is basically at the midway point, and with that in mind, we've got a new weekend, a new Friday with the Stronach 5 upon us, but you know it, we got to take a step back, and boy, they were betting with both fists, and money, recapping week number 6 in the Stronach 5 payout. How do you like just under $18,000 once again? I think the biggest price in the sequence, paid around $30, give or take. You didn't have to align the constellations there, and you got over $17,800 there if you had all 5 winners, and I hope you did. Now, as we fast forward into this new Stronach 5 coming up on Friday, November 16th, we will indeed kick things off with leg A. Race number 8 on November 16th at good old Laurel Park. 3:52 p.m. is the start time, and that's how you make your wager. You ask for Laurel, race 8, Stronach 5, and off and running you will be. From start to finish, got a couple of races from Laurel, almost a tag team, if you will, from Gulfstream Park West as well, and we go full circle, wrapping it up with the 4th race on the synthetic at Golden Gate Fields. About 80 minutes from start to finish. Still a good amount of action spread throughout the 5 races in this week's Stronach 5. And once again, knowledge is power in life and certainly in thoroughbred racing, and we've got you covered free of charge, which is pretty awesome, over at GulfstreamPark.com with those free PPs. When you combine the big payoffs we've had with the 12% takeout, I think it's a wager you just can't go wrong with. I think many of us in this day and age, horse players that is, very price sensitive, 12% takeout. And once again, how does $50,000 sound? We'll seed the pool with a cool 50 G's into the Friday, November 16th Stronach 5. That begins in race 8 at Laurel Park. And speaking of Laurel, little GPW, and let's not forget Albany, California out there at Golden Gate Fields. Let's bring in the boys. We've got our preview team here on the Stronach 5 show. Some of the sharpest minds here at the Stronach Group, including Matt Dinnerman in your bottom left at Golden Gate Fields, my good pal Ron Nicoletti over at Gulfstream Park West, and the one and only Stan Salter up there at Laurel Park. And Stan, you're in the hot seat, my friend, off the bat. The pressure's on you. We've got a couple of big fields on the dirt in the Stronach 5 sequence from Laurel Park, and that'll be the starting point as we head on up from where I stand to Maryland City, Maryland, Laurel Park. And what do you got for us, Stan? It's good to have you on the show, of course, and what are we doing here in leg A of the Stronach 5?
Well, thanks a lot, Jason. A big 12-horse field to kick off this week's Stronach 5 here at Laurel Park. Race 8 it's an very exciting race, a first-level allowance race. Optional claiming $50,000 for 2-year-olds, going 7 furlongs, and your morning line favorite in this race is 9-2. So a great betting race. You're going to get a good price, I think, here in the first leg of the Stronach 5. I think you have to go 3-4 deep. I have the 6 Beyond the Victory on top. 9-2 morning line for trainer Mike Trombetta. 2-year-old colt by Tuana and Serve. Trevor McCarthy will ride. McCarthy was aboard last out the race October 17th at Delaware Park. I think we have video of that race. That was the first time he had blinkers on the main track. A very good second that day with a 68 buyer. He didn't break very well. He bobbled at the start, but he overcame that. Finished well in that race October 17th. Since then, he's been working well up there at Fair Hill. 2 nice work since then up there at Fair Hill. McCarthy back, named to ride the 6 Beyond the Victory. So that's my top pick. My second pick, the 3, that would be Grand at 6-1. 2-year-old colt by Power Broker for trainer Dale Capuano. Weston Hamilton will ride. This horse is well seasoned. He comes out of the same Beyond the Victory race. He was 3rd behind Beyond the Victory. So I like my top 2 coming out of the same race, Beyond the Victory. That would be Grand. Another horse maybe to consider at a decent 8-1 price in this first leg, the 10 Sunman for our leading trainer Claudio Gonzalez. This 2-year-old colt by Broken Vow. He's won 2 in a row, including last out going around the ground. He has early speed. He gets Kevin Gomez, who's won on this horse before. I think the 10 Sunman live at 8-1. Another horse to consider, the 11 Mount Travers at 5-1. Gets first-time blinkers today for trainer Arnaud Delacour. But my top pick at 9-2 here in the first leg of the Stronach 5, number 6, Beyond the Victory.
Well, let's hope the name Stan is appropriate, with certainly some victory in the mix there. But again, it doesn't in that opening leg of the Stronach 5 on Friday, November 16th. Now, we will have some turf, and I promise you we'll get Stan back in the mix here. But hold your horses for just 2 seconds. We got to bring it on home to South Florida. I'm at Gulfstream Park. Our good buddy Ron Nicoletti, the legendary Ron Nicoletti, is over about 8 miles west over at GPW, Gulfstream Park West. They are in their penultimate week of the fall meet. And Ronnie, as we send it to you, you've got 9 horses here in Leg B to choose from on the dirt. How do you see it?
Hey, Jason. Yeah, let's take a look at the field for Leg B of the Stronach 5. It's, as you mentioned, a field of 9. And I just went with my selections in the race were the 1, the 6, and the 2. And I really had some interest in the number 1, Bull Gratz, who's now listed as a gelding. He's dropping to the $35,000 level. And he showed promise sprinting against maiden special weight competition before the layoff, which includes a well-meant second-place finish. Now, we're going to backtrack all the way to September 2017. We're going to take a look at Bull Gratz's performance. Now, this was under maiden special weight conditions, and I thought this horse ran exceptionally well in this race. He just fought on and fought on. Now, of course, this was September 2017, but the horse did come back in April, so we'll watch him finish up here. I thought he ran exceptionally well, so I put this race in my memory bank. He then comes back and he follows that with a chase-and-face performance in April behind a repeat winner called Sighted, who went on to finish third in the Carryback Stakes. The trainer's Terry Pompey. She's been on fire all summer long and has this sophomore training really nicely for the return. Now, the other horses I wanted to use in the race had some interest in. We're going to go to the number 6, Accountant Q, stepping up the competition. This horse first start, he dueled for the lead in that race, and he finished second to a repeat winner called Dr. Harlan. It was a 20 maiden test at Gulfstream. Another horse that hasn't been around since September, but I think this is a good spot for this horse to come back to the races. Now, you're looking for a little bit of a long shot. I threw the 2 and just busted. This one now in the Larry Pilati barn. He debuts locally at this $25,000 level. He faced New York State bred competition on both dirt and turf with limited success, but I like the connections. Miguel Vasquez, you're looking for a little bit of a long shot, you go with the New York bred. My selections, once again, 1, 6, and 2.
All right, a 3-horse spread there for Mr. Ronnie there in Leg B of the Stronach 5. And boy, have I seen quite a few New York breds in my time by Bustin' Stones. Heck of a sire. I hope that horse runs well beneath Miguel Vasquez. Promised you some more Stan the man at Laurel Park. And we'll head back on up for Leg C as we are just about at the halfway point with 2 down and 3 to go. Big field, another bulky field of a dozen ready to rock and roll in Laurel Park's 9th race. And Stan, as I send it back to you, I'm wondering just how key are post positions in these 2-turn dirt routes at Laurel Park?
Well, it's a nice 10-horse field here. It's haven't won 2 races in 6 months, never won 5 lifetime, claiming 5,000, going a mile and the 16th on the main track. I go with the speed horse, maybe lone speed on top. The 8 Palladian's going to have to clear from the outside, but you get Carol Cedeno, one of our top journeyman riders around here, riding this very well-seasoned 8-year-old for trainer Kieran McGee. This horse has won 2 in a row off the claim. Kieran claimed this horse for 5,000 back in late August, won 2 in a row up there at Delaware. He's an 8-year-old, made over $362,000, an 18-time winner. He's won 2 races at Laurel Park. He's a 12-time winner at this mile and the 16th distance. So he knows the game. He's going to have to break sharp and clear from the outside. We have the race last out, October 10th at Delaware. Let's show you that. He galloped that day. He was in front by 3, turning for home, won by nearly 5 lengths that day on an uncontested lead. So if he clears from the outside, which I think he will with Carol Cedeno, I think he'll be lone speed. The 9, Rumblin' Kyle, a good second behind Palladian last out. They come out of that same race up there at Delaware. Johan Rosado, the bug boy on Rumblin' Kyle. So you're getting 8 pounds off of the 9 Rumblin' Pile. He's getting an 8-pound weight difference from the 8 Palladian. So he's going to be right there early on with the 8 Palladian. He's not going to let Palladian get too far ahead. I think Grumlin Kyle gets a nice forwardly placed trip. He'll be right there at 6-1, so I think you have to use the 8 and the 9. The favorite in the race, the 3, Mythos, at 4-1. This horse is coming out of an open nickel try last out. Was an okay 4th that day. Rare Eagle, who was 3rd, would come right back to win. Richard Silliman claimed the 7-year-old, who's a 3-time winner at Laurel Park. Waited the 30 days. They're right back in for 5,000. An easier race, a beaten 5,000. So Mythos going from the open nickel to a beaten 5,000. He'll be tough in there with Victor Carrasco. I think you go 3, 8, 9. In the 3rd leg here of the Stronach 5. It's a challenging beaten nickel 10-horse field here. I like the speed on top, though.
All right, a couple of handfuls there in leg C of the Stronach 5, and boy, there are some battle-hardened, tough veterans. We love those older geldings. However, we'll switch from horses that have run quite a few times to a more untested field as we start to round the far turn here in our Stronach 5 preview show. We've only got 2 races to talk about, including race number 9, the Friday finale at Gulfstream Park West. And again, from those older geldings to a much more lighter race crew of 2-year-old fillies on the turf. We'll send it on back over to GPW. Ronnie, what do you got for us in the 9th at Gulfstream West?
Thanks, Jason. Nothing like 2-year-olds on the turf going 7.5 furlongs. Let's take a look at the field of leg D of the Stronach 5. And really like this field. You can see it's got a bunch of also eligibles in it, but a full field. I'm going to go with the 1, 2, and 6. I'm stuck on the rail today, but I'm going to tell you why I like the number 1 in here, and that's A Secret of Life. This one's going to depart from the inside after dueling throughout. We're going to go back and revisit his last race. Boy, he was really good in this race. He just went on and on. We'll be showing you that video in just a second. And he's just incredibly game in this race. You'll see him. He's the number 3 this day, and he's in there, and he's fighting to the wire, and he comes, and he's cruising now, and here comes a horse closing. But what you're going to see, right when they get to under the shadow of the wire, the 3 on the inside, The Secret of Life, gets really bopped hard by the horse on the outside, the eventual winner. Now, I just thought that that performance, he might have won it. He got really hit hard in that race. So a little bit of a trip note there for Secret of Life. It's leading trainer Marcus Vitale, and he's got apprentice Romero Mirage in the saddle. So I really like that horse. I thought he ran well. He was 8-5 that day. He's got to make amends. Now, the other couple of horses I have some interest in. Love the name of this horse, number 2, Narrows Bridge, who is the daughter of Venizero. You get the Bridge reference there. Debuts locally for Wesley Ward, so you got to pay attention. First starts, she surrendered a late lead. She was 2nd. That was against $30,000 maidens. It was at Ellis Park about August 17th. Wesley Ward really solid with this type of layoff. 20%. He's got journeyman Eduardo Nunez in the saddle. Then I got number 6, Bright Side of the Road, dropping to the 20 level and lures the services of red-hot jock Paco Lopez. Showed some speed weak and late. That was a pair at the $35,000 level. I bet you anything this was part of the pace scenario. So my selections in leg D, 1, 2, and 6.
All right, thanks again, Ronnie, and a good move and certainly a worthwhile note picking up Paco Lopez, taking the call on that Larry Bates horse in the middle of the pack. It's been a solid November, to say the least there, and that's an understatement for jockey Paco Lopez. First ever Breeders' Cup victory in the sprint with Roy H., and we last saw him last Saturday, on a pretty big stakes-laden card at GPW, winning 5 stakes. So that's Paco in race number 9, Friday afternoon at GPW. Well, it is 4 down and 1 to go, and no Stronach 5 would be complete without a trip out to the West Coast. Golden Gate Fields, to be a bit more specific, where we have track announcer and our own racing analyst, Matt Dinnerman, standing by.
Thank you, Jason. And the last leg of the Stronach 5 wager, certainly a tough puzzle to decipher here. A full field of 12 in this spot. This is a starter allowance race on the Tapeta. They're going 5.5 furlongs. Really, you could make an argument for a lot of runners in here. I think this is a race where you probably have to go deep in this spot. We've got the morning line favorite, King Eddie, coming off a real nice 12-5 win, is protected now for high percentage trainer Jonathan Wong. I'm going to talk about him in just a little bit, but I'm going to go to the outside, all the way out there, post 12. Cannonball coming from the Ed Mocher Jr. stable. This horse has run his past 2 races at the starter allowance condition. We're going to take a look at the October 26th race very shortly. He was going 6 furlongs at this condition last time out, and this horse down the stretch, as you can see right here, came with a nice rally, only lost by a length and a quarter to a nice horse named Woodsack from the Andy Mathis stable that has some nice back class to him. This horse, Cannonball coming, really made a nice move down the lane, came on, galloped out well, cuts back a half furlong for this run. I think Cannonball Cummins is going to be tough if he runs his best race. There's plenty of speed for this horse to just sit right off of, get a beautiful stalking trip, has some decent works on the page since that last run. So I'm going with number 12, Cannonball Cummins, as the top pick. The runner right to his inside, Dancing Harbor, has a good amount of appeal here at a decent price for the Frank Lucarelli barn, and I'm thinking Dancing Harbor can get the job done in this spot. Now you look at Dancing Harbor, this is a horse that's been facing a lot tougher company. He's dropping in class here. He faces easier in this large field. I think this horse can really do some damage here for trainer Frank Lucarelli. He comes off a 5th place finish to Annie's Candy, who's projected to run in the Oakland Stakes this weekend, in fact. So I'm thinking Dancing Harbor dropping in class from allowance to this starter allowance condition has some major appeal at a price. Number 9, Sound Logic. He's another horse I'd like to use. This horse just broke his maiden at the maiden special weight level over this track for trainer Billy Morey, is now in the starter allowance race. It's interesting he's not in a straight allowance. Billy Morey opting him to run against a little bit easier. He has to give some experience away. A lot of horses in here have run many times as opposed to Sound Logic, who's only run 4 times in his career. But I give Sound Logic a look first time against winners. And then number 3, King Eddie, the one we talked about as the morning line favorite. He's number 3 for the Jonathan Wong stable. It took him a while to win at the $12,500 condition. He put it all together last time out, came home sharply. It was his best run to date since coming here to Northern California a couple months ago. And I think King Eddie is on the improve. So look for King Eddie to make a splash in this spot number 3. But I'm going to try to beat him with the outside runner, Cannonball Cummins, number 11, Dancing Harbor, who has some appeal, and also number 9, Sound Logic as well. That's the last leg of the Stronach 5 wager this week. And Jason, hopefully we can get lucky to end this sequence.
Well, thanks very much, Matt. And this is the part of the show I like to call the Stronach 5 homestretch recap. We will give you a little live look, some real-time action here as far as 1, 2, 3s and top selections, because we covered a lot of horses and some pre-scratch 53 entries scattered throughout this sequence. And that 53 doesn't include also eligibles and main track onlys. 1 turf race in the mix. We've got 3 on the dirt and 1 on the synthetic at Golden Gate Fields. The only rule with our next graphic, got to keep it below a $100 bill. We've got our Stronach 5 All-Star ticket, $72, again a $1 minimum, and no singles. We have yet to have a Stronach 5 week here on the preview show where we've had or felt comfortable enough standing alone with just a single horse. I think that underscores just how deep and competitive and fun these races are. Free PPs, speaking of that competitive nature of the Stronach 5 races in the sequence, we'll keep you covered, and those PPs, by the way, will be posted mid-afternoon on Wednesday once the official odds and all that stuff comes out. So definitely take a look there. And $50,000 the guarantee. That is a life-changing score, a good chunk of change. And when you consider for just $1 gets you into the pool, 50 G's certainly noteworthy. And again, very price conscientious. You've got the 12% takeout in the Stronach 5. And needless to say, that is why this bet has paid so handsomely for those lucky few who have had all 5 winners each week. Once again, race number 8, Laurel Park, Friday, November 16th. That is leg A. That is the starting point, and you ask for race 8 at Laurel Park to get involved with the Stronach 5 pool. And I hope by this time next week, you're still in a position where you're perhaps looking over and counting your winnings. On that note, we wish you the best of luck. Thanks again for joining us here from our XBTV studios at Gulfstream Park, and we'll see you next time right here on our Stronach 5 preview show.